Guess what, Lions? For as little as $5 a month, you can get access to exclusive bonus audio content and help this program grow by joining the Lions of Liberty Pride. To learn more, head over to lionsofliberty.com/support.
Welcome to the Lions of Liberty podcast. Here's your host, your guide, your shining beacon of liberty, Marc Claire.
All right, you know what? I'm going to skip the usual intro because I'm just not feeling it today. I just want to get right to my guests, my crew, my Lions of Liberty, starting with... Why don't we start with Rico? I don't think I've ever brought in Rico first. Rico from Cleveland, Ohio, our private, our legal counsel.
I'm going to make an embarrassing admission today.
Please do.
I've been watching a lot of Sean Hannity lately, and I can't get enough. It's great. It makes me like
we've got our cold open, everybody.
Neocon of liberty. Every show, just because I delight in all this nonsense with FISA-gate or whatever you call it, and every show it's like breaking news, and it's not breaking at all. It's stuff we've been reading about the entire day. But
it's same news.
Yeah, and it's nothing, no new materials, but he sells it so well. It's like, oh, we got brand new information. No, not really, but I don't know. I just like the open. So.
Somebody call Sean Hannity. I'll never forget that fucking debate with Donald Trump.
Wait, what? Did he say that?
The debate where he just kept saying, hey, Sean Hannity knows. I told Sean Hannity I was against the... Someone just call Sean Hannity. He said it like 10 times. It was the cold open of one of our libertarians in living room drinking liquors back in the day.
I had numerous conversations with Sean Hannity at Fox. Sean Hannity said very strongly to me and other people, he's willing to say, but nobody wants to call him. But nobody calls Sean Hannity. If somebody would call up Sean Hannity...
By the way, this is, of course, Libertarians in Living Rooms Drinking Liquor, where I gather a few of my fellow Lions of Liberty. We drink some booze. We talk liberty. We have no script. We have no plan. But I will tell you that it's episode 334. It's only important because you're going to need the show notes because I'm going to re-listen to this when I'm sober and write them up and link to everything we mentioned over at lionsofliberty.com/334. Before I move on to my other guest, Rico, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking some Yingling. Just throwing a change up. A little unusual for me.
I don't know why I said all right. I don't like Yingling. I'm just glad you're drinking.
I don't really either, but I've heard Odie talk about it so much, and I haven't had it in quite some time. And then I remembered I didn't like it in college. So, fucking...
I don't think I ever liked it. I think I pretended to at one point just because I wanted to feel fit in.
We had to when
but
we were
I'm too old for that.
The alumni would yell at us if we didn't like Yingling, like we were some kind of...
You try rushing a fraternity in Pennsylvania and acting like you don't like Yingling.
Good luck.
Good luck with the ladies, pal. All right, moving along. Speaking of, everybody that's coming on is in a fraternity or was in a fraternity. I don't know how people define that. Some people are in it for life. Some people are like, I'm in it for 4 years, and then I don't care, but whatever. We're somewhere in the middle. But anyway, he is the Godfather. He is the man who first introduced me to the ideas of liberty by giving me a Harry Brown book, telling me that Ron Paul existed. He is Howie Snodwon from Leesburg, Virginia.
Yep, and unlike you, heathen Connecticut... What's someone from Connecticut called? In Ohio?
Connecticut. I made that up.
People from Connecticut are not called Ohioans, but
I'm a true Pennsylvanian, proud of the Eagles. I love me some Yingling, though I'm not drinking it tonight. Andrea got this awesome beer. It's from the Aslan Beer Company. It's a local
The Aslan Beer Company?
That's what I thought it was called at first. It was Aslan, like ASLIN. I was like, Aslan? What?
Like the lion?
Isn't that the lion from... Oh, hey, there he is.
Yeah, this is a Cocoa Maypalm. It's a Imperial Stout with maple syrup, 10% alcohol. It's excellent.
10%. Uh-oh. Watch out for how long have you been drinking, Howie?
I know. I just cracked the first one while we were trying to get set up, so I've just been drinking for about 10 minutes.
Well, you should be okay for at least another 5 minutes, I think.
I waited when I saw that 10%. I'm like, I better hold off on that.
Yeah, those high percentage beers, they are dangerous and fun. Moving along, JB, we heard him comment about. So is that actually based on Aslan from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Is there like a picture of a lion on it?
No, I have no idea. Stupid. All I know is it's like $8 a can.
All right. Well, the man with the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe reference there, JB Lubin from the city of brotherly love.
Hey,
That
Marc.
was not a racial comment, JB. Just
Oh,
wanted to
no.
put that out there.
I know that's what my city's called. Familiar.
Yes. It's not brotherly love. It's brotherly love.
Exactly. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and I guess I would ask you what you're drinking, but I have some insider information from our Liberty email chain that you are actually, I don't even know. I was covering this at work today, like 12 hours ago. So you have probably been drinking for quite some time. I'm amazed you're even on the show. Tell us about your day a little bit. Don't just tell us what you're drinking now. I want to hear about all your adventures. I'll give you 40 minutes, and then we'll do Liberty for 10 at the end. How about that?
Well, I don't need 40 minutes. I don't even know if I need 40 seconds. I just went to the Eagles Super Bowl parade today instead of working, which I normally do on a Thursday. It was a great time. I had a few libations and cheered on the team, even though I'm actually a Jets fan, originally from New York, in case no one knew, because I'm always introduced as being from Philly.
Right. When I say from, none
Yeah.
of us are from the places other than Rico. He's from Ohio, like legitimately. None of us that I ever introduce are from the place that they are at. We all have migrated in our lives.
John is from
Odie
Pittsburgh,
too. That's true.
So yeah,
Odie is true. Yeah. Odie
Just
and Rico
Rico
are the
and John.
only OGs. Exactly. The rest of us, we grew up and moved on.
yeah, freewheelers,
Exactly.
See this
Take-
vast
you're
country.
we take
better
us
than
wherever.
me.
I didn't say
I'd love-
anything like that.
I'd love to move back to Scranton, but there's no jobs.
Yeah, and I
I would
really just
not-
moved like 2.5 hours down the turnpike, so it's not much of a grand excursion on my part.
Isn't Trump bringing them back? No, they're not. They haven't reopened the steel mills in old Scranton.
I don't know. I don't think I'm cut out for being a coal miner, so.
When I picture Howie as a coal miner, I just picture Derek Zoolander.
Oh yeah, really? I see it right now.
I think I've got the back lung.
Actually, so there's a Wegmans in Scranton, and they have like these like old timey pictures, and there's one of like a bunch of people working in a coal mine, and the one dude looks exactly like me. It's like like I'm a time traveler or something. Went back in the past.
It's
and
like the end
coal
of The
mines.
Shining when you see Jack Nicholson like 60 years earlier.
I hope that's not my future. I hope I'm not going to go back in time and work in a coal mine.
It's your
but
past, Howie. It's your
We'll
past.
see.
Time has come and gone. So we normally have no script, but I think we've gone above and beyond today on having literally no plan whatsoever because I've had a hectic month or so. I know we're all pretty busy in life, except Rico. He's just like looking up flat Earth videos or something. But we're mostly busy. And what were you gonna say, Howie?
I'd actually like to hear what. So Rico's been watching all the Sean Hannity about the.
Yeah, let's get more into the Sean
scandal.
Hannity. I agree.
So
Let's hear more about this.
Rico, what's the breaking news? What's been going on? What's like the latest in the scandal?
Well,
Hey, by the way, we skipped a couple of things. I'm drinking vodka and cranberry because it's the only drink in my new house that I just moved into. The two items of alcohol I had. And JB, I don't know if we got to what you're actually drinking at the moment either.
Yeah, no Yingling for me though, but I have to chime in that lager is excellent. It's like the greatest, cheapest beer you can get. But I am drinking a Pennsylvania beer from Philly, Yards Love Stout, really good. Highly recommend it.
All right, free plug for those guys. Anyway, Rico, Sean Hannity, let's hear about it.
well, generally they spend the first 2 minutes talking about everyone's hair. I'm not lying. They'll debate who has better hair between him and Tucker Carlson. So they like to
between Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, they like to open their show with some playful banter. Or it's actually
Wait, are they on the same show?
No, they like lead into each other. Tucker
I see.
Carlson's
So
at
like
8,
Tucker tosses
and then they're
to-
like, we're tossing
I
it to
gotcha.
Sean Hannity, and more like Sean Hannity, and I think it's Laura Ingraham who's after him. I don't know. This is ridiculous that I know this because I haven't watched Fox News since 2000 when I was full on GW fan, which also embarrassing. But I just I was so happy with all this FISA stuff.
And
come
now
out.
you're a full-on Sean Hannity fan, so it's really.
I just have to listen to it because it makes me so happy how crooked they are. And I just delight in it, and no one delights in crooked Democrats more than Sean Hannity. So it's like we're peers in this, even though he doesn't know it. So, but there's nothing new, nothing developing, even though every show opens with breaking news. And FISA, and it's all the everything.
And a
we've already-
7-second graphic that's like breaking news. There's missiles flying across the screen. Like, oh, the end of the world's coming. Let's do this. It's like, oh, another Democrat said something about the FISA memo.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm pretty
all right.
I'm pretty sure anything he's talking about would be breaking news to any Democrat that has no idea about any of the stuff that's been going on.
Yeah,
Everything is breaking news to everybody. Nobody, and I'm not trying to exclude us. I mean, we all seek out things that sort of, even like subconsciously, that back up our point of view. You see an article headline and let's say it's about marijuana legalization, and I'm already for that. I'm more likely to read that article and more likely to share it. It's just like a natural human instinct. But there does seem to be an extreme detachment. And again, I am in a different situation from you guys. I live out here on the left coast. I live out here where most of my friends are somewhere between rationally liberal, but not really, and full on, we repeat everything that CNN says every single day. Mostly that, though. And there just seems to be it's like every single day when I'm at work, I hear somebody go, oh my God, did you hear? And then it's just like whatever the Democratic talking point of the day about, Donald Trump said this to this guy, and that means that he's being impeached in 2 weeks. And and this has been going on for a year now, and nothing has changed. I mean, at no point and the sad thing about this is there's so much legitimate. If the left wanted to be the anti-war, pro-civil liberties left, there's so much they could legitimately attack Donald Trump on, because that's the area he's weakest. Foreign policy, the war on drugs, civil liberties, the stuff where the left is supposed to be the strongest, the stuff that's supposed to be their bread and butter. They ignore all of it. They don't give a shit about that stuff. They only care about whatever the scandal of the day that makes Trump look bad because Russia, because whatever. It's all about this identity politics. It's all about Trump makes me angry. His hair is fucking white and is blowing in the wind. And that's way more important than all the things that we're supposed to fucking stand for. It's just, and I can't say any of this because I'm not about to flip out on my coworkers. It's just not good form. But I hear this everywhere. Coworkers, friends. I mean, this podcast is my safe space right now. This is the only place I can say these things and not just be taken as a Sean Hannity. Well, I mean, look who I'm associating with, the Sean Hannity lover, Rico. So maybe I will be known as a Sean Hannity lover. But a Sean Hannity, they always default to, oh, well, you're just a Trump supporter. I'm like, no, I don't agree with like 2% of his policies. Well, maybe 2%. I definitely agree with probably 2%. But I agree with Obama's 2%. It's not about that. I'm against every president, and I've been consistently against every president to all my friends for as long as I've talked about politics. But it's everyone else who shifts in the wind, not based on policy, though. Not based on policy.
You're even against Grover Cleveland?
I know you love it. Didn't he die in like a week or something?
No, he died on my birthday.
Which one died in a week? He died on your birthday.
Oh, McKinley,
yeah.
maybe?
Probably.
It's not why I like him. It's just odd.
Was it McKinley who died in like a week?
I thought he died in a
Was it?
bathtub.
Cleveland's.
I just said yeah, like I knew.
Cleveland served non-consecutive terms. So no, when they were leaving, when they lost the election after the first one, his wife told the help, don't move any of the furniture. We'll be back in 4 years, and they were. But anyways, I'm not a Hannity fan. I've actually was so pissed that he was in the Atlas Shrugged movie. It totally ruined the whole thing for me. But Mark, I feel your pain. I don't live on the left coast, but I talk to my mom every day. And so today was can you believe Trump wants to have this military parade, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what, Mom? Yeah, I don't think they should do it either, but really, who cares? I'm like, how about let's be upset about the troops still in Iraq and Afghanistan? Can we get upset about something that actually matters?
Do you think he's just thinking ideas that... Well, yeah, he definitely is. I'm answering my own question, but just what he wakes up in the middle of the night, it's like, I know it's going to piss him off really bad.
Exactly. That's 100% what is happening.
Yeah, I would bet you $100 there's not going to be a parade with tanks going down.
Well, it's already been scaled back. This is classic Trump. He starts with something bold and outrageous, and then it pisses off his opponents because they're just waiting for something to pounce on at all times. And look, I don't want a military parade. Actually, I do. I want to take a side note. I love the spin a lot of libertarians and anti-war people have been taking. I've seen this for a few people. I wish I could name them all. I know I saw Thaddeus Russell say something to this effect, and I've seen other people say it. I don't know off the top of my head who they are, but the idea of I'm all for a military parade for the troops when we bring them all home, spinning a Trump thing into really a leftist position in a way of being anti-war and bringing troops home and spinning things that way. But anyway, yes, he definitely sits around and thinks of what will infuriate people. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he'd love a military parade where they're all, there's tanks to the street and they're all saluting him. But I don't think that is his end goal. I think his end goal is to, as always, same thing with the national anthem stuff with the NFL, inflame the left so they're so hyperbolic that his base cannot possibly identify with being against him ever. So it distracts from the policies, it distracts from everything, but it makes the left so insane that, and when I say his base, I really just mean like normal people that aren't insane. I mean like the people that voted for Trump. A lot of those were Obama voters. A lot of those were Bernie Sanders primary voters. It's not like they're hardcore Republicans necessarily. A lot of them are, of course, but it's really, he's so good at inflaming the opposition to completely distract from the issues and to shore up his base and the people that are, and keep the opposition sidelined, keep them sitting on their fucking hands at the State of the Union, like Brian went into on ELL, and not even clapping or anything when Trump is, applauding black employment or what have you. He's about to possibly make a deal to make 18 million illegal people that are currently here legal.
18 million.
And you're not going to see. That's what I saw in the deal that was being proposed that they were discussing with Schumer. That's kind of been put on the back burner. All right, well, shit, whatever. It's still a lot.
It's a lot. The only number I know is it's 3 times as many as Obama, because that's what he keeps saying.
There you go. Yeah. He's masterful. It's like, if you just list me Trump's policies, some of them are good, some of them are bad, but watching him just sweep the floor rhetorically with people and get the exact reaction he wants, it's something incredible to watch.
And now I don't want the wall, but I thought for sure after the last shutdown and everything happened, when he's saying, I'm offering 3 times as many illegals amnesty, but I need the wall. We need to do something for security. I thought for sure he was going to get the goddamn wall. But now it looks like they're agreeing to some spending deal. Of course, we all knew that was coming. It's going to be like $300 billion more than normal, but I don't think there's a wall involved. I'm shocked to shit that I thought for sure this was like a master play and you get his wall.
All Trump wants is one panel, one 3-foot section of a wall and a new fortified area that he can take a picture of and post on Twitter and be like, wall. That's all he needs. He doesn't, it's never going to be a full wall extending along the border. There's already a border fence that was approved in like 2005 or something under Bush and funded somewhat under Obama. It just needed more funding, and that's all that's going to happen, if anything. That gets a little more funding for fortification, and Trump might literally take a picture himself and post it on Instagram, and he'll be fine with that, because it's all about the visual idea of I'm trying to secure the country. It has nothing to do with reality, obviously. I think even Trump proponents have to agree with that at some point. It's about his masterful use of rhetoric and bold language to get the exact reaction he wants, and he gets it every time. It's really incredible. No wonder he's president.
I really enjoy it until I remember how much more like the militarism is being ramped up. I think the civilian deaths are up. I forget, it was like 100 or 300% or something. We're running out of bombs. Like their factories are trying to pump them out like crazy because we're expending so many more bombs, like in all these war efforts. That sucks. He is a lot of what he does I like, and a lot of what he does makes me laugh so hard. But Jesus Christ, this is the most important thing. And if the fucking left were attacking on that, peace is popular. Everybody votes for the peace candidate. People, compared to Hillary, thought Trump was. People thought Obama was. George Bush campaigned on a humble foreign policy, no nation building or intervention, and he won. It's like, God damn it, peace is popular. Can someone like run on it and mean it and do it? And can we stop killing people all over the world and bring our troops home and stop asking them to risk their lives for bullshit?
So I'd
have a parade then.
I had a thought about this. When you're talking about a peace candidate, obviously we think of Ron Paul. But if Ron Paul happened to win, don't you think that he would have been smeared the same way with the Russia bullshit? And I think he would have been far less effective combating it than Trump is, because he was on, Russia Today all the time. And, there's no doubt he would, if he was the Republican candidate, he would have said, we don't need to be in a Cold War with Russia. We should be normalizing relations. So if he won, Clinton would have done the same thing. and they would have been attacking him, and clearly many parts of the deep state would not have cared for a peace president like Ron Paul. So I think they would have been smearing him the same way to try to get him out. But I don't think he's tactically there with Trump to kind of combat it. But I don't know.
As soon as you said that, I agreed with you. But now the more I think of it, I could see him going out and doing like a national address, and just you can tell he's honest and he means what he fucking says when he says it. I don't know. He might be able to attack it in a different way, just by being open, totally transparent, releasing so much information, showing us what's really going on and has been going on. I mean, sure, he'll probably get killed if he does that, but yeah, I don't know. Good point. They're going to sabotage anyone that tries to do this. The military-industrial complex and everything has so much invested in riding on it, just like making people filthy rich, that it's going to be a hard fight for all of us.
It would be great to see.
JB,
oh, sorry.
There you are.
Go ahead.
Wait, no, we got to let JB talk.
Yeah, I was just going to say that peace isn't really good for anyone's bottom line, which is why, they give a lot of lip service to peace during the election campaign, but ultimately, the military-industrial complex, as you brought up, pays all the bills, and they get what they want. It's pretty
peace
much
is
as simple
very
as that.
effective. Yeah, like it's very effective in campaigns. Literally, Ron Paul said this a million times, and he's right. When it comes down to the last two candidates, the more peace candidate has won every time in my lifetime. Every time. It's all relative. Sometimes it's close. I don't think George H.W. Bush versus Clinton was a big difference even in rhetoric, but kind of. I mean, Bush, both Bushes ran on being at least slightly more restrained in foreign policy. A lot of times the differences aren't stark when it comes to presidential
Al Gore
candidates.
being much of a war hawk, but I was younger in that. What was that? 2000.
I don't know if Gore was, but he was tied in with Clinton, and he supported Clinton's policy of bombing Bosnia and that whole situation. And Bush was critical of it, and he spoke in his campaign very much against foreign intervention and against nation building. So in that one, I think it was actually fairly maybe not a huge difference. It's not like I think the difference was starker with Kerry and Bush in rhetoric, but there was still a difference there.
Hey, something I learned today listening to
But
Scott
Kerry
Horton.
didn't win, so maybe that's wrong. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
I thought
go ahead.
thinking about presidents in my lifetime, I thought Carter was pretty pro-peace, but I found out today that apparently he gave the nod to Saddam Hussein to you could go ahead and attack Iran.
No probs.
I was like, holy shit. Carter?
No
Really?
probs, Saad.
Yeah, I was about to say,
They're all terrible.
Carter was the only one I could actually think of as being a peace president in in our recent history, but now you just blew that all up.
Is Carter the only ex-president who's not super rich?
He probably is. He's not.
I don't know.
He's richer than I am, for sure.
I've never thought about it.
Because every other one, I mean, obviously the Clintons are, the Bushes are, and that's the only ones that are alive, I guess. So Trump is.
Is Gerald Ford dead?
Since
I guess he's dead. Is he dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
if he's alive, he's not very interesting.
Clearly.
We never talk about him. Doesn't seem to be at a lot of events. So
I've got to Google this Jimmy Carter net worth. He's got to be rich.
he just does the Habitat for Humanity thing, but I don't know if he's certainly not
net worth $7 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Good for him.
He's not Nancy Pelosi rich.
She did a great thing for the country today. Her 8-hour speech accomplished a lot.
Did you hear any of it?
I did when
she talked for 8 hours.
I didn't even know Nancy Pelosi gave a speech or had
it
ever
was
given a
the
speech in her life.
longest
For that
House
matter.
speech since 1908 about DACA stuff. It wasn't an actual filibuster. She was just wanted to vent her frustration at Trump. But the only thing I heard from her speech was that her her nephew or something wishes he was Hispanic.
What? Can you explain or
All the news articles I read, the only quote I found about her 8-hour speech was that she quoted that even her little nephew wishes his one wish was that he was Hispanic.
Okay.
It's not that great, nephew of Nancy Pelosi. Let me tell you from experience.
Her one wish is that her nephew is Hispanic.
No, the nephew wishes, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what kind of speech
I'm confused. I'm confused by anyone that wishes anyone was any race. Like, I don't understand.
I mean, she sounds like she has Alzheimer's like half the time she's speaking, so I could imagine what this 8-hour speech was like. But
I thought Ted Cruz spoke for like 23 hours. Did that not happen?
that would be in the Senate.
Yeah.
But you have no
Longest
limits
House
on your
yeah,
speech since
time?
1908.
okay.
I didn't even think people in the House could speak that long because you can't filibuster in the House, right? There's
It wasn't a filibuster. She was just venting.
it's fair
It was
enough.
funny that there was someone who was sitting behind her that fell asleep.
Yeah.
Well, I've fallen asleep in movies, so
The idea, just thinking about Nancy Pelosi talking for 8 hours makes me sleepy. So I can't imagine actually sitting and watching it.
I will say she was nice to us congressional pages, though. A lot of those Democratic Congress people were not, but she was always nice. Though I disagree with just about everything she ever stood for.
Well, we'll give her that.
But I'll give her that.
but she's a nice person though, which is good.
She was, yeah.
Yeah, props to her for that.
Maybe.
She was nice to Howie.
What is she, like 78?
Oh, she's nice to you. Was she nice to everybody, or maybe she just had the hots for you, Howie?
Me too.
Me too.
Moment.
You should tweet out Nancy in 1996. Nancy Pelosi walked by me and said, "Hi, hun. How are you doing today?" Hashtag me too. I joke, but honestly, the Me Too thing it's both good and bad, but it's good in the sense, to the extent that it outs actual creeps, even if they're not committing crimes. Like, I don't care. I have no problem with people acting creepy, like getting outed and known about it in public and facing whatever consequences come from that. I'm kind of all about that, actually. It's what libertarians talk about a lot. It's the free market consequences of like inappropriate behavior that's not necessarily criminal. But now I'm afraid that it will be like some behavior like that will become criminal. You'll call whipping out your dick in your own apartment with two girls that voluntarily came there criminal, which it's gross and weird, but if he's not stopping them from leaving, that's obviously not criminal. Talking to you, Louis C.K., you weirdo. But he committed no crime, as far as I can tell. I know this is old news, but I hear about it every day, because it seems like every day there's a new accusation of sexual assault, and then when you read about it, you're like, well, this wasn't sexual assault. It was just like, weird people being creepy, but it's not illegal to be creepy, nor should it be, unless creepy involves physically, blocking someone or touching them. There's definitely can be a line somewhere, and should be, but there has to be a line, and now it seems like there's not. Side rant.
So there was a new Me Too accusations today hitting the libertarian world. 3 former employees, Cato Institute.
Wait, hold on. Cue the breaking news graphic. Breaking news.
Breaking news. We were all trying to figure out earlier who Julie Borowski was alluding to on Twitter, who was the libertarian that was accused. It was Ed Crane, one of the co-founders of the Cato Institute.
I thought it was going to be Brian McWilliams after his misogynistic emails came to light.
Oh, I wish it was Brian. But yeah.
What if that was
I
the
have
scandal?
to say, Ed Crane was pretty underwhelming when Julie tweeted that. I was hoping for someone, I'd actually
Everyone
have heard of
definitely.
before.
There's no one that didn't immediately go, "Oh, McAfee would."
Don't you wish it was like
Yeah, pretty much.
Nick Sarwark or like Arvin? I don't know how to say his last name. Whatever. That would have been great. But whatever. I'm glad it's a Cato person, because now the Mises Institute can come back at all the racism charges with those sexual harassers.
Let's discuss that for a minute, if you don't mind. Why would I care if you minded? I have mixed feelings on the Arvin Vohra thing, because strategically, as a representative of a party, it's probably not I don't think it's ever wise to focus on fringe or extremely difficult issues. I think it's best to focus on broad issues that libertarians generally have agreement on, purely from a strategic standpoint. I'm talking about now: war on drugs, foreign policy, civil liberties. That's the stuff that I think the Libertarian Party and politically active libertarians should be broadly discussing for the most part. But when I'm not defending Arvin Vohra as the vice chair of the Libertarian Party, but I do think that the points he has tried to bring up in his diatribes and what have you are not irrelevant. Okay, just the idea of age of consent laws and how they screw people over. I mean, we've seen so many cases just even on this kind of stuff that Odie has brought up on Felony Friday. You have a 19-year-old who gets drunk and makes out with a 17-year-old, and now that 19-year-old is a criminal 20 years later and has to register as a sex offender for the rest of their lives. There's obviously a problem with our system in some place. Now, I don't think an 8-year-old can consent. Walter Block has discussed this on the show before. It's a continuum, and there's not a definitive line that I think humans can necessarily ever come to. So I don't have answers here, but there's a real problem when people who are very close in age have a consensual act together, and because of some arbitrary line, now one half of that consensual, very clearly consensual relationship is criminalized. I saw one where I think it was like a 21 and a 19-year-old or 26 and a 19-year-old. Like, definitely no criminal charges, except there's criminal charges. So Me Too, and it relates to Me Too in the sense that the further we push the line towards no matter what you do, if society sort of thinks it's sexually inappropriate, it becomes criminal, that gets more and more dangerous to the point that almost anybody could end up in jail or have their life ruined for really doing some normal things. I'm not saying a 21-year-old with a 8-year-old is normal. That should be condemned. A 19-year-old with a 17-year-old, that's not that abnormal. And even if it was a little abnormal, it shouldn't ruin the 19-year-old's life for life. And rant again.
I agree with that, but if you remember, a lot of us wanted Arvin out before this even came up. And even
he likes to push
that
buttons.
Is
he does.
Technically right. What a shit position to try to attract people to the Libertarian Party.
Yeah, I agree.
Whatever. Some of his ideas, I may disagree with some, but it's less that than if we're trying to like grow a movement and make a difference and do something. He's one of the worst absolute people to fucking have in that position.
Gentlemen.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily. He might be the worst person to have in that position, but I
There's
don't
probably
think it's because
some
of
worse
anything
people.
he's saying.
Like Richard Spencer would probably be a worse vice chair.
Whatever. It doesn't even matter.
But there's definitely other reasons why it's not ideal. It's only because, like, how much of the stuff that he's saying is really getting out to the general public? I think all he ever does is really rile up other libertarians.
Correct.
It's irrelevant.
I don't think he's having much of an impact on the general populace and their perception of libertarianism.
You're right, because the Libertarian Party
honest.
never has and never will, especially on this track. It's been a failure for the 40-some years it's been in existence. It's going to continue down that road. I mean, it's even driving out like the great people like Larry Sharp's dropped out of the LNC. He doesn't want to be a part of this nonsense. I mean, I know Odie wants to like work hard, try to reform it, take the power back, whatever, and they had the good people in the Mises Caucus, but whatever, y'all pushing a rock up a hill, like, what's his name? Is it Sisyphus or whoever it is? But it's, I have...
Is that what syphilis was named after?
Sisyphus? I don't know. Whatever Greek or Roman dude that pushes the stone.
Yeah, the guy that pushes the rock up the thing and it keeps falling back down.
That's what I think trying to save the Libertarian Party is like. It's a disgrace what they become. I hate it. I don't want anything to do with it. I love the philosophy of libertarianism. I love freedom. I cannot stand the Libertarian Party.
Again, though, Howie, if you're going to think about this rationally, like, okay, what is the Libertarian Party?
Nothing.
It's just a group of no, but it's a group of people who join it and then reflect it. So I'm not even saying it's realistic. I'm just saying, rationally speaking, if enough people that think like you take over the Libertarian Party, it will be different. Like, is that not correct? If it's obviously a big if.
It's not going to happen.
But
it could always be just something inherent with the party system.
Even if people like me took it over, it still wouldn't do anything because it's still not going to.
If 70% of people that joined the Libertarian Party thought like Howie Snowden, it would obviously be different.
The party would be different, but would still probably be irrelevant.
Oh, I'm not saying it would be relevant.
I'm just saying, like.
But would you stop hating it? That's the point. Would you stop hating it?
Oh yeah, I would stop hating it then. But I mean, if we just look at it,
good. So let's make more Howie Snowdens. Damn it.
Or we could have people like Ron Paul and Rand Paul and Austin Peterson that are running as Republicans and have been getting elected or could be getting elected, actually get in Congress or the Senate and make a difference instead of this like fringe infighting over ridiculous ideas when people agree like 99.9% of all this other shit, but we're gonna like tear each other apart over this nonsense and do nothing and go nowhere forever. Sorry, I'm just so frustrated with libertarian nonsense.
Don't you ever apologize for ranting on this program. That's exactly why I'm here. Guys, we're going to take a break from the ranting and from everything for just a minute. We're actually going to hear a little advertisement voiced by someone who's not on the show. Mr. Brian McWilliams has a few words for you, and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, you might remember that I recently said that this is the libertarian moment and that we need more people to stand up and run for office. Now, if you're tired of watching liberty erode and you plan to stand up and run for office, I want you to call on a team that has over 20 years experience, Global Alliance Communications. They specialize in data analytics, identifying and mobilizing voters. They offer live voter outreach, data acquisition, compliance, recorded messages, text messaging with full social media touchpoints, and teletown halls. Campaigns of all types and sizes are encouraged to reach out, and you can find out more by visiting their website at www.gacigroup.com or email info@gacigroup.com.
All right, and we are back here on episode 334 of the Lions of Liberty podcast. And if you're new to the show, well, welcome, first of all. But I want to let you know that this is not the only format of this program. We have many, many formats of the show. I do host this program every single Monday here, the flagship OG Lions of Liberty podcast, where I often interview people in the leaders in the libertarian movement, thought leaders, political leaders, that sort of thing. But occasionally, more often now than before, because I'm really enjoying these. So we're going to do them maybe once, sometimes twice a month now. Libertarians and living room drinking liquor. You're listening to it right now. If you're still listening 35 or so minutes in, you're probably enjoying yourself. So this is where we shoot the shit. This is where we just see where things go. But I often have some more formatted shows, and then we toss it over every Wednesday to Brian McWilliams. Unfortunately, we don't do a toss. We should start doing that. A toss where, like the Tucker Carlson to Hannity toss, like at the end of my show, I'm like, all right, and now here comes Brian.
Well, you definitely,
then
you definitely have better hair than Brian.
That's really where I was leading with this. So thank you. We can skip the 2-minute build-up, I suppose. Yes, the point being, the punchline is, yes, Marc, your hair's better. Let's start. That's my rendition of the ELL music. But yes, every Wednesday, Brian McWilliams brings you comedy, culture, and liberty with Electric Liberty Land. And don't forget John Odie Odermatt, also not present tonight, bringing you his weekly look at the broken criminal justice system on Felony Friday. So hit that subscribe button, mofos, because you don't want to miss a thing, especially ranting here every single Monday. So what else can we rant about? Before I ask you guys anything about what you want to rant about, because we're halfway through the show or so, and I did ask the Pride this. We got a lot of responses, actually. There's no way in hell we're getting through all the stuff here. But about 42 minutes or so, or 48 minutes, actually, because I posted it in the picture. I asked the Pride secret Facebook group, because our Lions of Liberty Pride members get their own Facebook group separate from our public forum, the Lions of Liberty Forum, which any of you can join just by requesting membership. And if you look normal, if you answer the question of where you first heard about Lions of Liberty, you'll get right in there. Have a lot of great conversations in there. So please do come on over. It's probably, honestly, no joke, one of the most respectful libertarian-minded forums on the internet. Let me just say that. But you can get in the secret Facebook group where you get to ask us questions directly and really influence the show by joining the Lions of Liberty Pride by giving us at least $5 a month over at lionsofliberty.com/support. Be sure to check that out. But I did post out to the Pride, do you have anything you want us to talk about? Because, like I said, none of us, well, maybe I'm mostly speaking for myself. We're generally not prepared for the show ever, but I was really unprepared for today's show. I haven't seen the news in weeks. I didn't know Rico was like this deep on the Hannity thing, but we do have a lot of suggestions for topics. And
I got a lot of suggestions from the Sean Hannity Pride too, if we run out of suggestions from the Lions of Liberty Pride. So.
Are you a member of the Sean Hannity Pride, or are you a founder?
I'm in the $100 a month club, so I can get a free FaceTime call with them every month.
Wait, you give us $5 a month and you give Sean Hannity 100?
Well, you gotta make tough decisions sometimes. And
honestly, the fact that you give us $5 and still our host is pretty fucking ridiculous too, if you think about it. So whatever, we'll take it. Moving on. I'm just gonna go down the list. I'm not even gonna mess with this. We're not gonna get to anywhere near all of these things. Maybe we'll have time for a quick Pride bonus. I don't know. But Clint Rankin, good guy. Clint Rankin has been in the Pride for quite some time, and he wants us to talk about drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And that was his first comment with some laughy faces, so maybe that's not 100% serious. But he also wants to talk about Ben Swann being back, memos, and Henry Kissinger's, quote, accomplishments. This is a 3-hour show he just laid out for us, so I don't know where we're going to go with it. JB, just to make sure you're awake, I'll let you take this wherever you want. Anything you just heard, if it's interesting to you, talk about it.
Well, I guess drugs, sex, and rock and roll get a thumbs up from me.
I think we could all thumbs that up. No problem.
Yeah. But I just barely saw something about Ben Swann doing something about crypto. Is that right?
No,
I really am not
no.
up on what Ben
He
Swann
did a
is doing.
He's sponsored by
memo, didn't he?
He had this reality talk, or what was it called?
Reality check.
Reality check, but I
reality
mean,
check
his new episode
program.
was about the FISA memo, I thought.
Yeah, he does stuff like that. He had this thing going for a while, but after he did something on Pizzagate, the media company they worked for had him delete all his social media and stop doing this. And so he was just relegated to being a local news reporter talking about mundane shit. But the cryptocurrency Dash is funding him to go back and do this investigative reporting type stuff. And so I guess, Rico, you said he was reporting on FISA-gate now?
He did a thing on the memo. I saw that.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes. It was basically, the same kind of rehash that maybe we're just so into it that everything seems to rehash because we read all those links at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then everything after that seems I already know all this shit because I just read 20 news articles.
I tried to keep my Lions well informed on everything that's going on, whether it's just rumor or proven. So,
do you ever play the game with the links this link is from Washington Post. Oh, these next 3 are from Washington, and they're always right. Do you ever do that? Well, I guess since you're sending the link,
sometimes because I don't know if you guys will click on it, I'll put who it's from at the end, because it would be oh whatever, but I'm no, this is CNN reporting this. Can you believe that?
Yeah. if there's debunked in all caps, I'm okay, this is either CNN or HuffPo. So I'm right about 90% of the time, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think I hijacked whatever thread you guys were going down.
No, I think it's great that Ben Swann is back. I'm glad Dash is paying for that. There's a lot of... I like seeing there's a lot of cryptos Zencash. They're sponsoring Scott Horton's show. They're sponsoring the Lava Flow. They're a lot...
Well, shit, we got to get sponsored by a cryptocurrency.
Hell yeah, we do.
But this is a great segue to tell people that they can donate if you don't want to join the Pride for whatever silly reason, or you do want to join the Pride. By the way, we have tons of bonus podcasts in the Pride, including we'll probably do at least something after the show. You guys might go on longer. We'll see how much time we have, but we'll always do bonus shows. You get a bunch of every month. We get conspiracy corners. Rico is the expert conspiracy researcher. You need to hear his research and analysis of every conspiracy from the flat Earth to Waco to et cetera, to all of them. We will have a conspiracy corner in another week or two, as well as, of course, the League of Liberty podcast, where Roger Paxton and Chris Spangle duked it out like nothing. I've never felt so awkward just sitting by myself in front of a microphone before. But you can only hear this stuff by joining the Lions of Liberty Pride. So check it out, lionsofliberty.com/support. But if you don't want to do that, or even if you do want to do that and want to give us even more money via cryptocurrency, head over to lionsofliberty.com/donate. There's literally, I think it's 8 cryptocurrencies you can donate to us right now. We have all sorts of wallets set up. I'm pretty sure it's really just so Brian can embezzle funds into Vegas trips. But you know what? Whatever. We don't need to get into the details. You can donate LTC, Litecoin, Sia Coin, Doge. I don't even know what BAT is. What is it? What is that?
Basic
Howie?
attention token.
Basic attention token. We take that apparently too. I don't even know what it is.
That is something
Bitcoin
that you
and
can
Ethereum.
use. Say YouTube decides to demonetize our show. People can use the Brave browser, which blocks advertising, except for when they go to a site like ours, a content creator that registers, they can donate BAT to you. So that way you can, no matter, you don't have to worry about the YouTubes and the Facebook censoring you and not letting you get ad revenue. This way people can block those ads, but still contribute to the content creators they support.
Oh, that sounds quite useful, actually.
Yeah.
Sounds like the kind of thing we could use. I feel like I'm offended that we're not more blocked. To be honest, we are. A lot of our stuff is demonetized. I want to get blocked. Why do I never? We got to be more controversial, guys. Got to say some crazy shit. I want to get outright banned from something.
Didn't some of the System of Downs like stuff or not? Wait, is that Dan's? What's the System is Down? I was getting confused with the band for a second. But yeah, I think some of his.
I do that all the time.
Some of his conspiracy stuff might have gotten. I don't know. Maybe I.
Well, I mean, he's been demonetized. We've all been demonetized. I mean, it takes nothing to be demonetized now by YouTube. I mean, if you basically talk about anything but far left politics, you are demonetized. That is apparent.
Do they tell you at least what they're demonetizing you for?
I don't even know I'm demonetized.
Like an email or something?
No. I only know I'm demonetized because I go in and just look at our. You look at your video manager and you can see what's demonetized. It used to be like one or two random things, so it's like whatever. I don't know. Who knows? We had some weird audio in there they didn't like, but now it's like everything. Like maybe like there's one that's not. So you're like, what did I do wrong there? It's basically everything is demonetized. You can't really, you can protest it or like send a filing, but then. It's a weird paradox where you need like 10,000 views on each video, because we don't even do videos. We're really just posting our audio up there on YouTube. Some people like to use YouTube to listen to podcasts for whatever reason, so we just put it up there for them. And they we don't get 10,000 views on that stuff, so we can't even like file. We can file it. They're like, cool, thanks for filing, but we can't get an actual manual review of it anyway because we don't have enough views. So it's just an endless feedback loop, and I don't care. I mean, our YouTube monetization is very minor, part of our revenue, but it's more of the principle. And the principle is, as many libertarians will say, YouTube can do whatever they want, and they can. But, I'm allowed to bitch about it too.
And that's why I sent an email trying to get you guys to register as a content creator with the basic attention token, so that way people can use the Brave browser and contribute to us in that way, and screw YouTube and screw Facebook and all these lefties trying to put us down.
Honestly, I missed that one. Let's send it again.
I'll send it again.
It's been a crazy month, man. I see like 1 out of every 10 emails. I'm just like, I just browse them. I'm like, all right, I got the shit to do, and then I move on. So that's what's going on with me. All right, I guess we should try to get a couple more Pride members in. Or else Clint is the star. Clint should be the star, though, because Clint Rankin is actually heavily involved in the group. Not involved, just he started the group Walk the Walk, the Facebook group Walk the Walk, which you all must join. And you should also go to the walkthewalktofreedom.com because he likes to rally libertarian groups, libertarian podcasters, and their fans to support different projects on the DonorSee app. So we're doing that every month. We've helped out our listener, our good supporter, Daniel Lee, $25 Pride member. I think he was actually our first $25 Pride member. Daniel Lee, we helped him out when he had some discussion from Houston, as well as his cousins. So, and we've also helped out the Cajun Navy. We're a big part of funding the Cajun Navy's operations, which I don't know if you guys saw. The Cajun Navy was actually referenced in the State of the Union address, which I thought was awesome. I mean, whatever else you think about Trump, I don't know whose idea it was for him to bring that up, but that's awesome. That's awesome that they got those props.
Shows entrepreneurial or free
it's
market.
Not even entrepreneurial. These guys aren't making it.
I know. I'm trying to find the word for. I guess it's okay. Called a volunteer. I'm a wordsmith.
Yeah, voluntarism, you might call it.
Yes. You don't need the government to do everything for you to get things done quickly and helpfully. So. I did notice
Damn
that
Skippy.
Too. Yeah.
Anyway, that's Clint Rankin. Check out Walk the Walk. But let's try to get a few more of these topics in. Austin Wilson brings up. Sorry, you got something to say, Howie? I hear some giggling.
He brought up the North Korea participating.
Oh, you're on the same
Olympics
thread.
Yeah, of course I am.
There you go.
But I was just gonna say, that's awkward. But do people realize that it was back in like the late '80s? North Korea, like a North Korean terrorist, blew up an airliner, killing 115 people on it, trying to block the Seoul Olympic Games.
Yeah, I remember. I remember reading about
because that happens. I'm like, man, I hope they don't do some shit at this one. I'm, slightly worried.
Well, they're participating in this one, so it would seem kind of odd if they would try to blow it up.
I don't know.
Right?
I kind of don't think they would care if they killed some of their own people.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. I think it's ridiculous what South Korea seems so naive to me in this situation, thinking that because they're letting a few North Korean athletes on their team that it's somehow going to open up a dialogue. North Korea pulls this shit all the time where they act like they're going to re-engage the West or South Korea, and they just string them along, and then they just pull back, and then they do whatever the fuck they want, and they keep doing it over and over and over again.
Well, we keep giving them the excuse, though. We keep, we're like have an army on their border. We keep practicing every year, invading their country and destroying their regime. Like, if we actually did talk to them and signed a peace treaty and started like moving troops out, I think things could maybe be different.
There's
What do
no
you
way.
think? What do you think would happen if we pulled out of the DMZ? Everything would just,
North Korea would not. Maybe they wouldn't invade because it would be a bloody war. But the whole North Korean state is, they're Kim Jong Un is cultivating this cult of personality. What do you think would happen to him if he suddenly allowed modernization, like complete modernization of the society, where they get open access to information, free markets? People would learn what a piece of shit he is and what he's done, and he would be murdered. He would be Gaddafi'd on the street.
I don't think he'll do that, but they won't. They'll no longer have the American boogeyman to be like, this is why we have to fight. We're starving because the Americans have sanctions on us. They're trying to destroy us. We got to toughen up and fight and resist. Like, they wouldn't have that. It's like, oh, everything sucks.
That's how they came to power in the first place. So their whole history of that family came to power demonizing America. That's how.
So if America left them alone and let them just suck on their own, and they have no one but the regime to blame. I'm just saying, whatever.
Do you don't think they could?
I'm sure
plant the seed that their suffering is still America, even if we did nothing. Even we send them aid. Still, the West sends them a ton of food, and they still blame the West for why people don't have food to eat. Like, they're always going to blame someone else for their problems, whether we're doing anything or not. And it's the way they can justify their own.
Yes, they will try to do that, but it'll be a lot harder when we're not there on their border with troops. People are waking up there. Information's getting in. They're getting like cell phones and movies and shit from the South and from China smuggled in, and people are starting to figure it out. But, no one wants to say anything and like end up getting killed. It's gonna take a while for enough people to get fed up enough, I think. And
I think it's really going to take people in the upper apparatus to do something for it ever to change, because without that, then it's no matter how many people get information or cell phones or whatever, they're going to be too scared.
I feel like that might be more likely, too, with the way Kim Jong-un is just killing off high-ranking people. Like, it may not be a better life for you just to go along with this. It might be getting too risky to be one of these higher people. It's like, shit, I might be next for no good reason. Apparently, like, recently, he got super drunk and he was, like, raging at them, and he wanted all his generals, like, in his room, like, first thing the next morning, and they all showed up. And he was all hungover, and he's just like, "What are you guys doing here? What's going on?" He didn't remember like reading about.
How did you hear this story?
I forget. It was in the news. But yeah, he was just drunk, and they thought they were in all this trouble, and they show up, and he's just hungover, doesn't know why they're there, and it's like, fuck, that's got to be tough living like that. It's like, man, I know we have it better off than the average North Korean, but this is getting a little scary. That's how I'd be feeling, at least. So.
Well, that's why I'm kind of skeptical about what you're saying. It's like, yeah, we might have troops at the border, but we're there with South Koreans, and we've been there for almost 70 years now. If we were going to just roll through and take over, I think we would have done it by now.
If we weren't there all this time, I think they probably would have taken the whole country, and then it would have probably collapsed like Vietnam did, and now the whole thing would probably be like a capitalist, normal, regular country. But they've had us to fight against.
It doesn't sound like Russia or China are going to let North Korea collapse, because without them, they already would have collapsed. They're still funneling money, food, technology
China
to them. And
definitely doesn't want them coming into China. That's for sure.
Right. You'd think China would be more willing to deal with a refugee crisis than a mad nuclear or a madman with nukes, but I don't know. That's what I would prefer.
I think it's only on the assumption that those nukes will never be pointed at them. It's the only reason they tolerate it, because you're right. That's the only reason we're even talking about North Korea right now, is because China has been propping them up for decades.
And
that's really the fundamental problem.
I think
they would have collapsed and imploded like every country of that nature does eventually if they didn't have a huge superpower kind of keeping
And
them
part
afloat.
of the reason they do that is because China doesn't want us on their border. They like having that buffer zone. And I think we like having the status quo, so we have an excuse to be over there in that part of the world, having the South Koreans and the Japanese listening to us because, we've got this threat in North Korea, we better be on the side of America, like, God forbid they don't fall under our control.
Yeah, I think
North Korea doesn't help by literally threatening Japan with missiles. If they don't want the U.S. to use that rhetoric against Japan, they could start by not threatening Japan.
And they probably wouldn't have these nuclear missiles if we didn't, anyone who gives them up, we fucking kill them. Anybody that tries to work with us, we just invade and destroy their country. I mean, it's rational to develop nukes when we know what happens when America wants you out.
Yeah, but they've also been developing nukes for decades. They've been in this pursuit, and I don't know that America was completely. It probably were.
Well, they were going to give it up.
Bill
Clinton worked out a deal, and then Bush destroyed it.
Yeah,
this I don't recall.
Wonder
Breaking news.
I don't think that was really.
Sean Hannity reports.
I don't know how
news
close
from 20 years
really
ago.
was that. It sounded like they were engaging in, bilateral talks, and then
they had shut
Bush
down
came
their
in,
main
but
nuclear
also
reactor.
Kim Il's. I always forget the order.
Kim Jong-il.
Yeah, he was the second one, right?
Yep.
So he pulled out too. There was a lot of kind of shenanigans on their side, where they would kind of say, yeah, we'll do this, and they're like, fuck you, never mind. And so I think they're hardly blameless. One thing I found interesting is, did you hear this? Howie, I don't know if you heard of this guy, Victor Cha.
Yeah.
He was, I think Trump was going to appoint him, was it some ambassador?
But he decided not to.
Yes, because he was kind of trying to talk back the war rhetoric, and he wrote that book, The Impossible State, that I'm halfway through in 6 months, so I consider myself pretty well read. And but he talks about how North Korea has this kind of just mindset mentality that the U.S. just doesn't get, or South Korea doesn't get, where they keep making promises to string along, and then they pull back and change their mind. But at the meantime, while they're making these promises, they're always pursuing their ultimate objectives. They're never actually changing their behavior.
But what do you think they're ultimately? Do you think they're actually going to try to nuke the United States?
No, but I
don't either.
But I think their ultimate goal is to get a reunification of North and South Korea. And I think they actually think that might be a possibility one day. And
wait, you think that's North Korea's goal? Or
I
South
really
Korea?
think
no,
the
that's North
Korean
Korea's
regime
goal.
just wants to stay in power and stay alive and
No,
stay rich.
I don't think that is anything to do with the North Korean regime's goal. The Uns, there's one Un left. I think he's killed 30 of his cousins. He only wants to stay in power, like Howie was saying. And it makes reunification is obviously something he uses as a political tool, just like Trump uses parades and walls as political tools. Reunification, obviously, the only way reunification will be acceptable to Kim Jong-un is if he reunifies under him.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's not going to happen. Everyone knows
even think
that.
the South
So really,
wants
it's just
that.
a political tool.
Well, the South definitely wouldn't want to live under him.
Well, if it worked, sure, he'd want it.
Well, no, but I
it's not
mean,
what would
even
happen.
under their control, taking on all that debt and all that poverty and misery and
Yeah, there would
you
be
mean South
massive
Korea, of course.
influx
So.
of people to the south. It would be
we
insane.
would have to pay for all of this probably.
Reunification can't happen in realpolitik. It has to just be North Korea becomes less tyrannical and frees up, and then trade opens up, and over time, whatever, or I actually like what Scott Adams has floated out, because it did. We actually have sort of seen that work in a real way in Beijing, the 100-year plan, where the people today, it doesn't affect them in reality. They're literally all dead by the time it comes into effect, but it provides that relief of, in the future, the generations away from now, we're all going to be okay again, and we're all going to be better once we've had this 100 years to let things naturally progress in the right direction. That seems to actually have worked with the Beijing Beijing thing. Yeah, technically they're under China's control now. But Beijing, I mean, I think there's no doubt that Beijing is different than China.
Are you talking about Hong Kong?
Am I saying the wrong thing? I meant Hong Kong. And I'm not even gonna edit that out because that would be really hard to do.
Yeah, because Hong Kong makes way more sense than what you're talking about.
I was too. I'm just like Beijing, and then I'm like, why am I saying Beijing? I was actually thinking that as whatever. Folks, I'm drinking very highly filled vodka and cranberries. I'm allowed to say Beijing 3 times when I mean Hong Kong. All right. So yes, I obviously mean Hong Kong. Yes, it worked well with Hong Kong. Didn't work well with Beijing. They're still the capital of real China. So yeah.
And yeah, you saw West and East Germany. East Germany was drastically different than West Germany when the wall came down and they began the reunification process. And the East is coming along. I don't know what the status is now for the former East versus the former West, but they're definitely pretty normal now, I would guess. You would have to ask a German to know for certain, but it seemed to have happened smoothly.
So when they just said the other day that the Berlin Wall has now been down for longer than it was up, I had no idea
really?
that it had been up for that long because it came down like when I was a little kid. It's like, holy shit!
I remember watching.
I thought
it
was just up for like a few years or something. I didn't realize it was up for like however long time.
Decades,
yeah, I guess.
Oh, I thought it was up for longer than that. I thought it went up like right after World War II, but I guess not.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, because they were. Did you ever see that Bridge of Spies movie? It's actually pretty good, but. So they kind of
see that for a while.
It's with Tom Hanks, and it's
Oh, I know it's with Tom Hanks.
Yeah. So watch it, but yeah, it came up like probably like 10 or 15 years after I think the end of World War II. No, it was late 60s maybe.
I saw Atomic Blonde. That's got the Berlin Wall in it.
Sure, it's also historically accurate.
We're gonna switch topics. Top 10 movies with the Berlin Wall in it. Number 1. Bridge of Spies.
So a bunch of people in the Pride are asking about taxes, I guess.
There was a lot of tax commentary. I think that would be a good way to have a final topic for the show. So, because I'm 2 seconds from blacking out. So, and 2, 1, blah. Yeah, I'm still not sure how it's affecting my. I know we're getting more money. I think at where I work, they said it would be effective either the first or second week of February. So I'm not even my last paycheck was higher than normal, but I also worked some overtime and stuff. So I'm not exactly sure. I can't state if, how much it affected me, but I did do some of those calculators, and it didn't. For me, it was it was like $600-800 over the year.
My paycheck's like $80 higher, and I get paid every 2 weeks. So that's like $160 a month more I'm taking in.
See, my paychecks are always different because I do overtime, and every week it's a little different, so it's hard for me to pinpoint it.
Yeah, sometimes because I get paid on the 15th, the 1st and the 15th, so there might be a couple. It's definitely higher, but it might be variable. And I also...
Well, we all know it's higher because every single person's tax bracket is lower, so it's not even a question that's higher.
I don't know if it's because of the corporate tax cuts and all those other things going on, but economy and taxes are doing good for me.
Here's one thing we can debate as we wind things down. And Brian kind of brought this up on Electric Liberty Land. The idea of, Jason Stapleton has criticized the tax cut as not being a tax cut. Other libertarians have. And they're correct in the sense that I completely agree with this conceptually. Every single dollar of government spending is a tax on the populace. That's a fact. It's actually a tax on the poor the most because... Okay, let's hear it.
If they default, it's not...
Okay, yeah, and I think that's probably the only realistic way out of it. But on the books, it's a tax on everybody because we're, in theory, all liable for the debt, and they end up inflating, and any spending ends up taxing us in some way presently, whether it just means they're inflating more or whatever. So I completely understand and respect and agree with that concept. But, however, every dollar back in our pockets is good. Is the other way I would spin that too, because it's still helping people more directly. Just like when they print new money, the banks are the first ones to get it, and it benefits them the most. Well, when Americans and regular people are the first ones to get it, that benefits all of us the most, the people that are getting it the most. So I still think it's overall better for all of us to have more money in our fucking paychecks that they're not taking ahead of time, that we can do whatever we want with, that we can trade with, and that I think you see a better economy on the surface, even when there's obviously a lot of underneath the surface problems. But no matter what, I'm always going to agree that even when spending is not going down, sending more money back, letting us just not lose more money on the front end of that process, that's always better.
Yeah.
Any disagreements?
You want to be ahead of the kind of like inflation curve, and you have the opportunity to be that or do that if you get the money. Like you said, you keep your own money, and then you can. I mean, if you just put it in the bank account or dig a hole and put it in the ground, well, clearly you're going to be behind that curve. But try to think of clever and ingenious things to do with it. Put it in cryptocurrency or whatever, and then that $100 you have today could be worth $1,000 in a year, or you lose.
Could also be worth 2 cents, depending on when you invested in.
Everything's going up. Don't listen to the news. You'll be a millionaire in 6 months.
The dollar's lost like 95% of its value. That's a real shit coin.
Yeah, I love that stat. Like, what is it? The dollar is worth or $1 in 100 years ago is worth a nickel today. Something like that.
And it would definitely be known as the biggest shitcoin that exists.
Exactly.
I kind of want to get some of that worthless Ron Paul coin, even though it's, it's just it's not a serious cryptocurrency. It's just like a token named after.
Some would say no cryptocurrencies are serious cryptocurrencies. Now that I've learned more about it, I agree that a lot of them are probably going to be nonsense, but the technology of blockchain, I mean, that seems to really have real world applications outside of the currencies. So, just like you've talked about, Howie, privately with a lot of us, those coins that have real world useful applications like file storage and that sort of thing, those have a chance to be useful. And I mean, I don't know, maybe the currency aspect will also take off, and I think that's possible.
Especially the privacy currency,
but
like
the
Monero,
usefulness,
people to want to buy something and not have the government or someone else know what you're buying. That's useful.
Should Monero sponsor us? If Monero sponsored us, would it be an ultimate paradox because the government would know Monero sponsors
We'd probably all be under surveillance.
If we're not already, then we need to step up our game.
Or we'll just keep it the way it is, and that'd be all right too.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. JB, any thoughts on Texas?
Well, I'll agree with you. I always like to see more money in my paycheck whenever I can, though. I'm not sure if it's actually gone up. I'll need to check, but I don't really feel like this is a tax cut for me. It feels like a tax deferment, and to a point where I'll conceivably be making more money when they increase my taxes even more than they were before.
That's a good
So I'm a little torn on it.
Rico,
and yeah, maybe I should.
I can't wait till we have the Lions of Liberty estate in Puerto Rico. Should be done by next month.
People use this as a political tool, and I'm really like a tax cut without a spending cut. I know that's so overused and cliched. It's it doesn't really feel like something to celebrate.
When was the last time there was an actual cut, not a cut to an increase, but an actual we're spending this?
Well, no, this is an actual. Oh, you mean to the spending? Never.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
No,
I mean that's what I meant. When has there actually been a spending cut, like an actual spending cut? Is it ever happened in the last 20 years?
According to the people I work with, Trump has been cutting everything drastically, and then I try to explain to them that first of all, nothing's been cut, even in the normal aspect that we talk about. But even things that were proposed, and even that whole sequester, everything, it's just cuts to formerly proposed increases, which are still increasing. So there's never a cut, literally never a cut.
And don't get me wrong, I would love to see cuts. I want cuts and tax cuts, but I'll take a tax cut any day I can get it. Anytime we could keep more money to ourselves and not give it to the government to piss away, sign me up.
Yeah, all I know when the government has my money is I'm not making money on it, and I can potentially make money on it when I have it. That's,
So can I ask you a question? Considering that to be the case, how do Republicans keep the reputation of being fiscally conservative
They shouldn't.
when every Republican president in my lifetime who's been in office has not only not cut spending, but increased it?
They're
It's
hypocrites.
just lazy. It's just lazy kind of
Rand
journalism.
Paul was
to
the
say
only
that
one
they're
to Rand Paul is the only one today trying to stop this budget from passing.
That's something else we were asked to talk about, and we should, because he's kicking ass. Like, literally, this is not, it helps him politically, maybe long-term with people like us. It doesn't help him politically with regular Republicans who don't care about spending, which is most of them. Most Republicans I know don't rage about spending. They're like wall and whatever. They're not like, ooh, I care that we're $20 trillion in debt. I don't think I've met a human that cares about that outside of our, liberty circle here. So the fact that he's standing up for this, maybe it's part of his stand with Rand hashtag or whatever. But
I've got
awesome.
2 thoughts on it. 1, best senator ever. 2, where was this Rand during the presidential election?
Yeah, right. Well, he did talk about the spending things a lot. I'll give him that. But he wasn't passionate and fiery. It was like the presidential election. Obviously, we've covered this in depth to the max. In fact, if newer listeners don't know, we did a show called Rand Pluses and Minuses for a short time, where myself and Brian McWilliams, eventually he took it over a little more, broke down Rand Paul during the presidential election. So you can go back and listen to every step of this process along the way by just digging back in your podcast feed, going to lionsofliberty.com/podcast. I think we even have a specific archive. I'm going to find out. Yep. lionsofliberty.com/Rand. That's where you're going to go for, let's see how long it was. Boom, boom, boom. 2015. Over a year, 13 months of podcasts and articles that Brian and myself and one form or another did about Rand Paul's presidential campaign. Huh. It started as articles and quickly became only podcasts. Remember when we did articles on our website?
Vaguely.
God, why we do that? The thing about that,
seems like so long ago.
For every 10 views on an article, you can get 500 podcast views. It's just the reality of the way people consume media nowadays. So we shifted according to what the market told us.
That's why I never wrote any. I was just ahead of the curve.
You were. Or lazy. I don't know. That doesn't matter. I think I had a point in here somewhere. Anyway, go listen to the Rand Pluses and Minuses reading. That's all I'm saying. My dogs are barking.
And all the debate recaps. Those were good times.
Yeah, I should toss up a old link for that too, but I don't have one right now. So just look through all our archives. That's all I can tell you. All our 2015, 2016 debate recaps. Guys, I think we've gone long enough for the main show. Do you guys have a little bonus in you? I have like maybe 10 minutes.
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's sign off with this one.
Left in the tank.
Thank you so much, folks, for joining us here today. It's been a blast as always. Join the Pride if you want to hear what we're going to talk about next. That will remain a mystery for now. You can, of course, do so by heading over to lionsofliberty.com. Besides that, be sure to hit that old subscribe button. You don't want to miss Brian McWilliams again this coming Wednesday with Electric Liberty Land, his look at culture, comedy, and liberty. And of course, Odie's going to wrap this thing up on Friday. Felony Friday, man. That show has been riveting lately. I mean, it's always riveting, but the last few, if you're not bawling in your car or while you're mowing the lawn or wherever you're listening to the show, you do not have a soul. You really have to check out what Odie's been doing. Really fantastic interviews there. But until next time, folks, are you ready to live long and live free?
Hey guys, this is Roger Paxton, and if you're fed up with the government running every single aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, then what's wrong with you? Check us out at thelavaflow.com, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every single episode.
This is Chris Spangle, and I am the host of We Are Libertarians, which you can find in iTunes, Google Play, or at wearelibertarians.com. We are a podcast that brings you all of the irreverence that modern politics deserves by examining current events from a libertarian perspective. So please, check us out at wearelibertarians.com.
Hey everyone, the Johnny Rocket Launchpad is Liberty. Each week we strive to bring you the best guests in talk radio. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad delivers weekly interviews of noteworthy politicians, experts, and activists. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad is bringing the party to the Libertarian Party and launching ideas in your direction. Check us out at johnnyrocketlaunchpad.com, and you can hear me, Kurt Nelson, and the beautiful Heather Nixon talk about the ideas of liberty, rock and roll.
Caught me a bullet and it's just one name while you shoot me a book in a hole.